to part two of Cari's adventure in Sedona. So, Cari, let's finish up part two.
All
All
right,
right, that's
part
good.
two of my trip to Sedona. I'm going to just summarize the first 4 days. The first day was a travel day. Then I kept going back to Bell Rock. I went there for sunsets. I went there like, I think 4 times. And during the day, when you try to go there, parking is impossible. So it's like, I got so lucky every time I decided to go. I would just like somebody pull out, I'd pull right in. So I spent a lot of time at Bell Rock. I went to Boynton Canyon. I
You know,
hiked all the way in there.
which is great, but it has nothing to do with luck. It has to do with the energy vibration you were in.
Yes. Oh, I know. And it's in my manifesting skills, which I've been pretty
Right.
darn good at that lately. I go there with no idea of why I'm there. But one thing I did go to Sedona with was an intention. And I've had the intention here of clarity about everything in my life. I've wanted clarity about everything I'm supposed to do about everything. But my life is kind of just like nee, 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 nee. It's like it just nothing's shifting. But I knew this place was magical. If I go in there with intention, I'm going to get my answers. So my intention was clarity about my book because my book is being written. I'm like, there's just something has been missing, but it's not anymore. Um, Clarity about just my life and where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing. Just I want clarity. So I would stand on top of the summit, like Bill Buellman, clarity now, just screaming clarity now. I want clarity. Thursday is the day I have to check out. The night before, I'm at Airport Mesa then, and I was talking to this woman. I had 2 trails I was going to do on Thursday before. I was going to check out, go do the trail before I go to my new place. One trail was far away, the other one was nearby, but I was like, I'm going to just figure it out. When I was finishing my time at Airport Mesa this day, this woman said, "So have you done Broken Arrow yet?" I'm like, no, but that's one of 2 I was thinking about tomorrow morning. So now I know my decision. Oh, another thing about it, I hate the heat. Sedona was very hot, but I never looked at my weather app. I didn't look at my phone. My phone was only for pictures. Every morning I would get up, put on my tank top, my athletic, stuff that's very cool. And I never once thought about what the feeling was temperature wise because I
Good.
gave myself no conditions. There was no hot, too high, too cold, anything. It was just an adventure. So I never was warm. I was perfect. And there would always be a perfect breeze if I started feeling pretty hot. So on this day, Broken Arrow, I get there and I have to drive my little Nissan Sentra rental car on this really nasty dirt road to park. I'm like, come on, baby, don't pop anything. So I park the car and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do that trail. So as I'm hiking up, it was beautiful. Everything is so beautiful there. But then I realized I was where the pink Jeep tours, they were kind of going behind here. So you could hear the Jeeps rumbling and the people talking. So as I got closer to, it's called Chicken Point or something. That's where like the destination is. There's the pink Jeep tours. And you hear all these people talking like, it's so hot. It's so hot. Guess what happened? I
Oh,
was
yeah.
so hot.
It's like,
I got so hot. It was like the first time I'm like, it was terrible, but I was like, I haven't been around conditions. And I know if I went with anybody else on this trip, they would have been telling me what the conditions are. And so that's why I knew this was just all on me. That day I checked out of my motel and did the hike. And then I'm like, it was really strange. Right in the middle of the day, I'm like, I'm going to go check in now to my other one. I knew full well I could not get in for hours, but I wanted to go check in right there. So I drive there. I go out of Sedona. I'm in Oak Creek, I think it's called. It's before you get to Sedona, a lot less people. And it really had a much better feel for me. As I pull up, there's a man who just walks out of the lobby. And so I walk in and I'm ringing the bell and there's nobody there. So then I see the man coming back with the hotel manager. So he wasn't in there. So I'm like, no, you go first. You were there first. And so he registers and he gets all checked in. And then they said, okay, well, you can't have your room yet. It's going to be a few hours. So he went outside. There's a courtyard. So he went and sat out there. I went in to check in and I saw where that man was standing. There was a quarter. And I was like, there was something about that quarter. I'm like, I have to have that quarter. And it was like, I knew it was his. And so I picked it up and I felt like energy in this quarter. It was crazy. The man was super sweet. This motel manager, he's like super sweet, got me all checked in. And he said, your room won't be ready either. I asked if I could use the pool. He said yes. So I got changed, went to the pool for a little bit. I don't lay out by the pool. I just cooled off. I was like, all right, I'm done here. I got changed again and I went and I got some lunch. When I came back, that man was still sitting out there waiting for his room because he had his luggage. He was traveling. So there's nowhere he could go. And I guess he took a shuttle. He said, "Would you care to join me?" I'm like, "Sure." So we sat there and chit chatted for a bit. Super nice guy, travels all the time. He was a park ranger and all this stuff. And then the man walks out and he goes, "Palmer, like, here's your keys." And so cool. So we're like, "All right, see you later." Got in my hotel room. I ended up chatting. I met this guy that I was chatting with a little bit there. Super nice guy, but he apparently he was a very sick man. And so he had come into Sedona on the day before. He spent one night at this motel. He had a place in Sedona he was going to stay at for a couple of months. He was going to rent, and somehow it fell through. I love the way this stuff works. So it fell through. So he had to check in one more time, but he had a 4:30 shuttle picking him up the next morning to take him back to fly wherever he needed to go because he had to get back to his doctors in the hospital. I didn't know what was wrong with him. I just know he just had some medical issues. But it was like he was just super nice to talk. He knew the area. He was showing me stuff about the map about Sedona and areas because he had been a park ranger there. I went to bed that night, slept again like a rock. Early the next morning, I'm up and I'm out hiking again. This was my final full day there. So I just hiked all over. I did, I think, 35,000 steps that day. I kept looking at my
Wow.
Fitbit like, I can't do this normally. Everything about Sedona felt like I was like, just clarity, clarity, clarity. And I don't expect like a big flag to fly in front of me and give me an answer. I just know that I'm opening myself up to it, that it's going to come to me and it is coming
Right.
through me. The last day I get up, I booked time in the Ascension Chamber that Donna Rebedow had talked about. I thought, I mean, I allowed that to come to me. If it was supposed to be, it would work out. And I looked at a time for 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. My flight was later on. So I'm like, I'm going to go do that first thing, do the Ascension Chamber. I got to check this out.
And this is in Phoenix, which is where
Yes.
you'll be flying out,
Exactly.
flying back
Yes.
home from.
Yes. I made my appointment and I was supposed to be there at 9 o'clock. And I pull up and I meet Chad and Maria, who run this chamber. I walked in and they showed me this new chamber they're making right now, which is to experience out of body experiences. But this one now is this other chamber that they've created just for this experience. And they give you the tour. They show you all this, like the Tesla technology, the copper, everything is like, so many things have gone into this. The things that are right beside you, and I can't describe what they are. I've got to watch Donna's episode talking about this because I'm sure she has better descriptions. But just the energy of all this stuff that's around you. They had me sit in the chair and they had me hold on to two in their package fluorescent tubes. They're all packaged with cardboard and plastic. And I hold on to them and I pull them in the chamber. They immediately illuminated. It was like, I'm Candy Sanderson. I'm holding light bulbs. They're lighting up. I mean, it was magical. And they have speakers all around. And you're in a floating glider chair that it like leans back and
Right.
there's
It's
the
a
music
zero,
playing. Yes,
zero gravity chair.
I mean, so when oh no, it's the best is yet to come. What I didn't know was included in this is Maria. So they show me that. So Maria takes me out and she goes, "I'm going to ground you now." And so she's having me do some grounding exercises. And then she has me go upstairs above the chamber where it's like the water area. And we're doing some Qigong and stuff. And she's like grounding me. And then she's doing a reading on me. I'm like, I'm getting a reading by somebody that really sees. She looks at me, she goes, "You need to drink more water." That was the first thing she said. And I'm thinking, I know. It's like I could not drink enough water in Sedona. But then she looks at me and she said, "You've got really big things ahead of you in this lifetime." And I said, "I know." It was just like this agreement that we both knew this thing that I'm here to do. And it was just like a secret language. Like, I know. She was just beautiful. She was this beautiful soul. I had no idea I was getting that. Then they put me in the chamber and then they start the music and I can't describe it. I don't know if it was out of body. I don't know what happened to me, but I was in this song and the way Chad described it is they do it like auto select, like the music selects for you. And the music selection was phenomenal. It was like loud, but it was intense, but it pulled you into each song. You became the song. You became the act. I mean, it was just like every single song. I'm like, yes, yes. I have tears streaming out of my eyes while I'm doing this. And I can't explain it. It is all energy. Everything around you is electrical. I brought all my crystals with me. I had my crystals with me and my big bottle of water that I would be drinking was in there too. So all this energy is being absorbed. And it was like, then they had Tim McGraw's "Live Like You Were Dying" was like the last song. And then it all started fading out. And I was just like, just tears coming out of my eyes. It was just powerful. And I know this is something, it's like they're just learning, they're doing this stuff, and it's like it's not very known yet or popular. But I'm like, I'm going to share this for you too. It's like you guys have created something here that it's unexplainable, but it's an experience. And people who live in Phoenix, you could do it, like you could get this membership and do it frequently for a lot less money.
Right.
But it was just, I got out and they're like hugs. I'm like, I'm a hugger. I was just like, just want to hold these people and say thank you. And we chatted for a little bit. It was like they were just like this little secret pocket in Phoenix. It was such a gift.
Carrie, I can't think of a better way to end your trip to Sedona. You're in Sedona with all of the energy vortices. You're experiencing an undercurrent of energy that entire time. You go to different areas and you see the difference between this energy and that energy. You are so ramped up. Now you're ready to go home and you spend it at the Ascension Chamber.
I'm so
Wow.
glad, because I asked Dawn, I said, do you think I should do it? Because she knows Sedona, she knows the chamber. I said, should I do it before or after? She said, either. Do it. She definitely said, you got to do it. And so
And
before, I just wanted to get to Sedona, so I didn't want
right.
to do it before, but it just lined up perfectly.
And actually, it's perfect to have done it at the very end, I think. Now, I recorded with Donna once when she talked about her experience in the Ascension Chamber. So, what I will do is create a link to that in our description below so people
Good,
can
because I
watch
want to
that.
see that. I want to see it now because I want to hear what she had to say. Because I have a feeling she knew more of the terms of what they call. I was just like, just blown away. Yeah. From there, I go to the airport and will like take my car back. I mean, everything lines up, so I have a whole lot of time to kill at the airport. But I don't want to be in Phoenix; it's too hot for me, and it
Right.
was just too much. So my timing was good. I drove back when it was early morning, had my windows down, got to have fresh air. At the airport, I go. Finally, I get a seat at the restaurant. A lot of it's still closed because of COVID. Couldn't find a lot of restaurants, but I found a restaurant.
Right.
I just was starving; I hadn't eaten yet. So I sat down. I got a Caesar salad. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, I need to look up. I looked up. I love these signs. Oh, before this, I had just read Laura Lynn Jackson's book about signs. Like I listened to that the few weeks prior. So I'm sitting there, have my salad. I look up, and the TV set right above me has 3 words on it: share your story. I'm like,
Perfect.
I'm like, I know.
Perfect.
Flew home. It was wonderful. I came home. And since I came home, the clarity has unfolded rapid fire. One thing that was interesting, the gentleman that I talked to, I did get his email address, the park ranger. It's like knowing that I know he's got like thinning of the heart walls, he's got COP, he's got all these acronym stuff. I don't know at all about him, but it's like, I'm here to help you heal. It's like he does, I mean, he's a spiritual man. He's very open, but he doesn't understand this part of what we talk about. And I'm like,
Right.
dude, I'm connected to a network of healers. And I'm like, I've been chatting with him, trying to like help him understand healing energy and how to turn his conversations. He's at some friend's house now in Massachusetts, and he's like on their couch. He's got his feet raised up because he's like swollen. I don't know what's going to happen, but he was saying how he feels like a burden, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm like, your narrative needs to change. I said,
Right.
your friends love you. You are there because you're being lovingly accepted and taken in because they want you to heal. They want to help you. It's like I'm like, don't ever say anything, and like trying to turn that narrative. So it's like, I know for a fact that it's like that quarter is like the energy of that is like, I'm supposed to help this guy in a huge way. And so I've been literally, I went for a walk in the park the other day, and I'm like, that's the thing, my heart space cracked wide open in Sedona. I went from being very elevated, feeling very powerful and magical, to I feel like I've hit that complete enlightened that place to where it's like, I'm wide open, and it's like I send it anywhere. I could feel it. I felt it standing on the mountaintops. I felt like this brand new energy. So when I was walking through my park, I was sending him, like from my heart space, I was like
Yes.
sending him all this healing energy like crazy. And I felt like, I'm like, I know he feels this. And this is
Right.
not me, Candace. I don't do this is not who I am. This is not how I roll. I don't know how to send healing energy. I mean, this stuff doesn't work for me, but I really felt it. I woke up on Thursday morning after I got back and I knew exactly what I needed to do with the rest of my life. Every
Wow.
single bit of it. And I also came up with what my book is about. Before I did the podcast with Donna Rebedow about you, I remember walking through the park, looking at the ground, thinking, I'm already at bliss. I'm already always happy. How can it get better? And and then you and I talked about that. And like, I mean, I'm not complaining. It's wonderful. But I realized that going to Sedona, opening myself up the way I did, getting to this place where I am, I have experienced complete full potential. I am the potential. It's like any single person on this planet can feel this amazing all the time. And so what
And
my story is I am in bliss. I'm beyond bliss. I'm to a place now to where I am elevated to a place that I don't think I can imagine too many humans can ever get here. But I have the guidebook on how to get you here. I know the steps that I've taken and it is so easy and we all have complete potential to do anything to find the greatest feeling, the greatest love, anything we want in our life. I found it and I know how to get people here. So that is what my story is going to be about. It's like everything is
well,
unfolded so magically and so much more is still unfolding. That's the best part. I know I'm not done yet, but I feel so complete. Everything in my world is changing right at this minute. And I can tell you off air, others we could tell later, but my world is brand new once again, Candace. And I'm higher than a kite than I've ever been in my life.
Cari, one thing I want to say is you quoted Bill Buellman, the OBE expert that, we've met through Monroe Institute, and you said, clarity now.
And I
And look
meant
where,
it. I
and,
meant it.
and look where you are now. Look how much clarity you have received. It's
Exactly.
fascinating,
And
absolutely
yeah.
fascinating.
And it's like, and I think I've always known it's like, I think we just get in a rut in our locations where we are. And so it's like taking myself out of something that is always the same, which when I did, my friend Connie did a reading on me a little while ago saying, your guides have been trying to talk to you, but you're not listening. And that's, I think, part of getting Laura Lynn Jackson's book. It's like, I know
Signs.
there's signs all the time, and I don't know if I'm paying attention. But going to Sedona, I intentionally went to a place that would be full of magic. I was open to everything that I would get, and the magic was everywhere around me at all times. It was incredible. But it was like, I ran into so many people there that had no idea about the energy, about the vortex. They were just like, oh, really? And so I'm like, go look it up. I'm like, because people go there and they feel good, they feel better, and they don't
And
know
they
why.
Right. They don't realize it's because of the different energy vortices that they're tapping into. Just
Yeah.
like when you go into a room and there are people there that you love, and maybe they're not there, that they've left. It's like it still feels good. You
Yes.
go into a room where someone who's just had an argument, it's like, ooh, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But that's that energy, that undercurrent of energy that runs all the time. As you become more energy sensitive, you realize, oh, that's what this is. With me, my life changed when I learned to view the world through the lens of energy. I literally see the undercurrents. What happened with you is you opened, you expanded, you said clarity now, you tasted different aspects of energy. And once you do that, that becomes part of your makeup. So when you leave and you come home, and you topped it off with an experience at the Ascension Chamber,
Yes.
when you top that off with, wow, look at my life. It's totally different. I'm totally open. I know things I didn't know before. I understand things much deeper. I am empowered because the energy has affected me and has allowed me to step a little bit closer to my true nature, my divine nature. Wonderful, Cari. Wonderful.
And I've also, since I've opened up this way, I've been receiving so much more guidance that is not even necessarily for me.
Right.
I'm tearing up right now. It's like when I was on my Zoom call with my Monroe group yesterday, it's like I had guidance for each of them that came through me. And they're like
Yeah.
going, like, wow, how'd you, it's like, and then when I was in the park, it's like I'm getting guides and I'm starting to really see things like the veil is
Perfect.
really thinning for me right now. It's really thinning. And I know I'm just starting off on this next amazing adventure of my life. And it's like, I just throw it out there. It's like, I have no idea what's going to happen. Like my friend Connie's
Trust,
always like, so where are you
trust.
going to go? What are you going to do next? And I'm always like, Connie, you know me. I don't plan. I don't think, I allow, because it
Yes.
shows up. I gave my notice at work on Thursday.
Oh,
I
you
told
did.
them
Wow.
I did. Yes, I'm like, I'm gonna be done with radio. I said I don't have a date. Just I know they need people. I'm like, so just be looking for new people. So yeah, everything's unfolding. And yeah, we'll be doing another episode, probably in a couple episodes from now, that's gonna have a big unveiling of all the stuff happening in my life, because it's absolute freaking insanity and I couldn't be happier.
That is absolutely wonderful. You know, everything we do relates to energy. It's interesting everything you're talking about. I just recorded something right before you and I started this recording, and I was talking about how we can step into joy. And once you step into those higher vibrational frequencies of joy and gratitude and everything else, your life starts to open in ways that we didn't know were possible.
Yeah.
But once you can keep those higher vibrational energies into your frequency, and you can choose to do that now. Something negative comes in, just like you were talking about, someone wanted to tell you how hot it was. It's like, oh, I don't want to know. I don't know, want to know
Yeah.
the temperature. Don't allow that into your energy field.
Yeah.
You stop, you take a deep breath, you refocus, and refocus in joy, in higher vibrations of gratitude and laughter. And then that path starts to open a little bit wider for you. And once you're on that path, you keep continuing. And as you continue, the veil that you're talking about, Cari, starts to thin. And you start seeing things or hearing things, or maybe the messages aren't so clear yet, but you start having just some intuitive knowledge about, oh, I think this or I think that. Or like you're talking to a friend and all of a sudden a message drops in that you need to tell them. It's all about the process of enlightenment and becoming one with all there is. So your
I
trip,
just saw some orbs flying behind you, by the way.
okay, good. Well, we'll have to highlight those
I
in
know.
the
I was
in
just
the
like, in your place now. Okay, cool.
good,
It's
good. Well,
all the next thing.
oh, all right. And speaking about that, I was speaking to one of my friends, and she was telling me she was out in nature and she kept seeing someone out of the corner of her eye. And she's intuitive enough to know no one's there. So she turned around and snapped like 4 or 5 pictures with her camera. There's this fuzzy energy. And she said she knows that was her guide or whoever it was trying to get her attention. That's another thing you can do as you start opening up. More phenomena like that will occur. Get your camera out, take pictures, take a look at them. You'll see orbs, you'll see different mists of energy. I took a picture the other day, and there's this beautiful ribbon of mist that goes across the middle of the page. At the very top, it's rainbow colored, but I just smiled because I realized that's why I was drawn to take that picture. On some level, I sense that energy. So the more you open, the more you receive.
I wasn't going to post anything on Facebook, but then when I was there, I realized that there's so many mountain pictures I was taking. I did
Right.
it for myself. I did like the day of cathedral, or like Cathedral Rock, and I did Bell Rock, so I knew where I
Right.
was. One of my friends from high school, she posted, she goes, check this out. She was with her husband on the trail to Bell Rock. She took a picture of him, and then he took a picture of her. The picture of him is clear as can be. The picture of her, there's this thing all around her. It's just like, it's like,
Energy
I mean,
vortex.
yeah, it's just insane.
And you can catch them on film, or where
Yeah,
there's no film.
yeah,
You can
that
catch
I'm starting to
them.
learn.
You can record them.
It is magical there, and I am going back to Sedona. I could see myself doing winters there, because I know the summers get pretty darn hot. Phoenix is way too hot.
Cari, thank you so much for sharing this. What's wonderful about it is you went to Sedona, this place of magic, and you came back a different person. You now have clarity. You understand much more than what you did before. You're opening more and more to the world of energy. And this is
Yeah.
something we all can do. And I lived vicariously through you and through your pictures that you posted. So thank you so much. And until
My
next
pleasure.
time, we'll see everyone next time. But remember, we are all energy beings, and we have the ability to choose what energy field we want to step into. Choose joy, choose happiness, raise those vibrations.
Because it feels so good. Thank you guys so much. Until next time.
Next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.